Around the country, thousands of blocks of flats are still wrapped in flammable material, with the people who live in them fearing their homes could be the next Grenfell Tower fire. Delays in their renovation have increased service charges and insurance costs for homeowners, putting lives and livelihoods on hold. Today, the Labour leader Keir Starmer told the government to get a grip on cladding. Ministers, though, say they are making good progress. Martel reports.
It's a dream home gone wrong.
You feel like you're living in a nightmare every day, and it's got to a point where you genuinely would not wish this on your worst enemy.
For Ria and her partner Greg, life is on hold. Plans to marry and start a family cancelled. They live in a flat that's now a fire hazard and face bills of more than £60,000.
And I think even in terms of a mental and physical state, since this has been happening, I've developed panic attacks, I've been diagnosed with that, and all of this stems from the uncertainty.
The other point is time. When is this going to end? There's no certainty in the future, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, if you will.
This block in Greenwich is just 10 years old, but already needs urgent work to make it safe. The cost, a staggering £9 million.
What's wrong with this building?
Unfortunately, it's everything that you see externally. We have the flammable wooden cladding, and behind that we have flammable insulation. And at the very top, we have zinc cladding.
How does it feel living in an unsafe flat?
I think that the concern over that is dwarfed by the financial concerns. So, as much as I might fear burning to death, the day-to-day worries is actually financial, is about money. So it's going to cost £9 million, split between 219 leaseholders.
That's a huge amount of money. Can you afford that?
I could probably get a loan, and I could probably scrape together enough, and only my quality of life would suffer. But I know many people in this building, they cannot. They will have to declare bankruptcy.
We've been covering the so-called cladding crisis since the Grenfell fire. But more than 3.5 years on, the problem isn't getting better, it's getting worse.
New analysis shows that as many as 11 million people are at risk, with 4.6 million homes still unsafe. The government says it's providing £1.6 billion to pay for the removal of flammable materials, though the real cost is thought to be as much as £30 billion.
They've put forward a fund, but it's not working. It's not enough money, it's not targeted enough, and they have not yet even identified all of the buildings, all of the flats that have got the cladding that needs to come down. This is not on. 3.5 years after Grenfell, it's not on.
Order.
Tonight, Labour is urging the government to create a national task force to get a grip on what it calls the deepening cladding crisis.
Rags, it feels like it's taken a really long time to get this resolved, doesn't it?
That's right. Take a look at the date. It's more than 3.5 years after Grenfell, and there's been a lot of talk to try and get this fixed, but very little action. And tonight, it seems no exception to that. Labour's National Cladding Task Force is not a bad idea. It was used in Australia after Grenfell, and it did work there. The government have always insisted leaseholders should not pay anything, but they're the ones who are having these huge bills landing on their doorsteps. And we saw in Greenwich, the builders and developers there have both gone bust, so they can't even ask them for any money. But nothing will happen unless the government steps in with lots of very big money. The vote takes place at 6:30 tonight, but it's a Labour bill, so it's unlikely to get through.
OK, Rags, thank you.